Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is an offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. March 28, 2019, the SFO Sued Edition. First up, an article in the Wall Street Journal about insurers teaming up to rate cybersecurity. I found this really interesting and certainly something that you should consider taking a look at, as some of the world's biggest insurers are working together on the assessment of the best cybersecurity available to businesses. Certainly an unusual collaboration that highlights the rising risks of dangers posed by it. The program was launched by a brokerage unit of Marsh Mac, and it will evaluate cybersecurity software and technology sold to businesses. Next, in an article from the Washington Post, was very interesting that it took a look at President Trump's cryptic tweet canceling major sanctions against North Korea. This was immediately literally within hours that the Treasury Department had announced sanctions involving North Korea. Canceling the sanctions the day they were announced did seem like an unprecedented step. However, according to this article, the explanation was more simply that it was designed to provide a cover story to conceal that the erratic policy process in the White House, which led to President Trump changing his mind. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Swedish police raided the headquarters of Swedbank, the latest Scandinavian banking giant to come under suspicion of laundering billions of dollars in illicit funds from Russia. Obviously, the Danske Bank scandal was very large, but this probe looked into whether 15 of the largest shareholders in the bank had money laundering operations going forward. So a very broad sweep of this going forward. And finally, from the Financial Times, the Serious Fraud Office is now being sued by a company that it investigated. The mining group ENRC has sued the SFO for over $70 million for its corruption probe. It fell out of the FTSE 100 more than 5 years ago following claims of fraud and corruption. It's now suing the SFO for alleged wrongdoing in the way it conducted its investigation. The ENRC alleges that a lawyer hired to conduct the internal investigation after a whistleblower made claims of fraud and corruption passed confidential information to senior officials at the SFO with whom he was friendly. The case against the SFO is simply the latest legal salvo as ENRC waits its long-anticipated charging decision from the agency. So going on the offense in this situation, ENRC believes it will be to its advantage. And with the Serious Fraud Office with its egg on its face already around Rolls-Royce, it will be interesting to see what happens. As we near the end of March and move into April, I hope you are awaiting the start of the baseball season as much as I am going forward. This is Tom Fox. If you have any ideas for the Daily Compliance News, please feel free to email me at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. I'd love to hear from you. As you may know, we've had several new offerings on the Compliance Podcast Network. One of those includes Popcorn and Compliance, where Jay Rosen and I take a look at compliance through the lens of movies, both current, contemporary movies, and classic movies. Also premiering in December. And finally, Mary Shirley and Lisa Fine have premiered their new podcast, Great Women on Compliance. I hope you will check that out. It's a great podcast series. We have several other offerings that are in production that will go live hopefully in Q1 of 2019. I hope you will check back to see the offerings on this Compliance Podcast Network.